What's up, guys? Today we have Cameron Snow with us. He's a book marketing beast. He currently runs author direct sales and romance book bundles, where he's helped countless authors make tens of thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars selling directly to readers. And today he's going to walk us through the real way to start and scale your author business through direct sales. I'm super excited. What's up, Cameron? What's on the agenda, man? How you doing?
What's going on, Marcus? Thanks for having me. We're going to be going through how to actually start selling direct using Shopify and paid media. Now, Shopify is something that anyone can launch up. You can sell literally anything on Shopify. It does not matter what genre you're in. And then we're also going to be going through Facebook ads. We see the best results and the most consistent results with Facebook ads. So that's really what we stick with. There's also other things like TikTok, Google, but Facebook is really how you can scale from, 0 to 10,000 per month in the quickest time possible. So just jumping in, the main thing really with direct sales is starting with your offer. Like, you always need an offer when you're starting out. You need something to sell. And so what we've found has been very effective is actually having a bundle, creating a bundle. So what that means is, instead of trying to sell one book at a time, you actually sell them the entire series at a time. And this can be one series or possibly two, as long as they make sense together. And we're going to be going through kind of how you can craft your offer. But here's a few different examples of an offer. So this is simply 5 books for 30% off. This one scaled up to 148,000 a month, just selling this one specific offer. Here's another one. This is paranormal romance. This is 12 books for 50% off. Scaled up to 38,000 a month. We got another offer. This is a cool one because this is ebooks and audiobooks. The audience is probably familiar with BookFunnel in terms of delivering the books. So you can put those together where you're selling an ebook and an audiobook together. This is also the same one as well. And these ones were able to scale up as well. Here's another offer, 8 books. You can kind of see the pattern here. This one got up to 140, about just that one offer. And finally, this other one. This is an interesting case. These books were on Amazon. Previously, she wrote these back in 2017 or 18. And she came to us in about 2020, end of 2022, maybe around early 2023. Yeah, it was like January 2023. They're making about $1 or $2 a day on her backlist, just sitting there on Amazon. Bundle them up, launched it up, got up to $93,000 a month with just this one specific offer. Pretty cool results. So now jumping into it is really crafting your offer. Like, how do you actually craft that together? So getting into it, you really want to start with either one series or one subgenre that essentially you can kind of look at your books and think, like, if your readers were going to buy these, would it make sense that these books were together in an offer? And so you could typically start with some of your popular series. Some of those examples of like subgenres is hockey, romance, mafia, women's fiction, horror. Any of those can be bundled together as long as they're in the same. So if you have 6 mafia books in one series, 6 mafia books in another series, you can bundle those together to make a 12-book bundle. And the nice thing with those bundles is that it helps with breaking even on your ad spend, because if you're selling one book, it's one book. So you have to maybe get a $5 cost per purchase. And that's really hard to do at scale, trying to get someone on to buy one book, rather than when you have something like a 9-book series this was $26.95. So you have a lot more margin there. And so that allows you to keep acquiring customers at a profit and bringing them in. And then, so yeah, you just want to put together, what we found is around like 5 to 12 book bundles work well. You can, in some cases, have 20, 25, 30 book bundles. We're actually selling those right now. We always typically say, like, have a minimum of 5, but you can go up there. And there are some very dedicated readers, let's say, that will buy those 30 book bundles because they just want books on their TBR, or they're going to just fly through them. And we've seen people go through 30 book bundles in like 2 weeks. So people will buy them. And then once you have a 30 book bundle, you can always increase your price too, which is great. You can have somewhere around like a $45 price. And that gives you a huge margin to be able to still acquire those customers and then keep acquiring more and more at a scale. So with this example, this is 3 completely different series. This was a series, this was a series, and this was a series. So we bundled those together into a 9-book and then scaled it up. Now, when it comes to pricing your actual bundle, so typically what you can do is just take whatever the price is on Amazon. So if it's $4.99 on Amazon, sell it $4.99 direct. And then when you bundle it up into a 9-book bundle, this is your actual price. So $44.91. And then that's where the actual discount comes in, where we apply a 30 to 50% off discount. And then that's where we get the price point of $26.95. So it gives the customer an extra incentive because they're getting a discount on these books. And so they want this discount. It's more of an impulse purchase too, where they're seeing the discount, they want the books. And then again, you still have that great margin to be able to scale. So this is what it essentially looks like on Shopify. So $4.99 each. 40% off price point gives you that $26.95. The next thing with naming your bundle, we actually have split tested this a lot and we found really good success when you put the trope first, the subgenre second, and then the actual offer, which is obviously a bundle. That really stays consistent because it's important to remember that 99% of these readers that are landing on this page have never seen your books before. They have no clue what these are. And so having a clear name of all of these books were blue collar bad boy romance. So we clearly named it that, and then steamy romance just to clearly identify that, and then the bundle offer. Because the majority of people don't know these books. And so it's very helpful for them to actually just see that directly as the title. It just allows the reader to just be able to see exactly what it is once they get on the page. So instead of say like a boring offer name, like Tess Oliver's romance book bundle, they don't know who Tess Oliver is. This is the first time they've ever seen her. So we have an eye-catching, attention-grabbing offer like that. It's important to remember to name things like that. And when it comes to actually building out your Shopify store, so a lot of readers or a lot of authors think that building out a Shopify store can take a long time. We've actually really refined the process down. You can honestly get your store built out in like 1 to 2 days. You could just take a weekend. You could have the entire thing built out. We do have a course that goes over it and we give a template where you can essentially just take our template and you just upload it and it literally just creates your store for you. And then you just plug in your products, things like that, which is pretty nice. But it's super easy. You get a free trial. You get, I believe, so they switch between $1 for 3 months and $1 for the first month. But I know at least you get $1 for the first month. So you could have it up in a couple of days and start selling in the next 7 days and start making that money back. And then it's pretty affordable. It's around $30 per month for Shopify. Just creating the account. And then the next steps are just uploading that store template. That's what I was talking about. You simply just upload that theme, builds out your whole store. You just upload your products. And then from there, once you upload your products, it's really just drag and drop, just putting in your information in instead of the templates. And then from there, you have an entirely completely built out store. And then just adding your products in. You can always add ebooks, audiobooks, paperbacks. Special editions are huge right now too. Those things are flying off the shelf. We have some authors that are obviously on TikTok too, making posts, and they have warehouses full of books that are just flying out. They can make posts about the books going out, and then that makes more books sell, and then they make more videos about that, which is a cool cycle that they got going.
So one thing on that, Cam, real quick.
Yeah.
When they're doing that, like what's the printing like? Because I know some authors, they kind of stick with the comfort zone of KDP or whatever because it's handling a lot of the fulfillment. What does that look like? Is there something they can set up where it just prints when they buy, or do they need it physical stuff ready to go?
Totally happy to answer that. Yeah. So when it comes to actually printing your books and selling the print books on the store, there's a couple different ways to do it. There's book vaults, which they're actually getting pretty good with special editions. They're starting to do sprayed edges, starting to make some really, really nice books. So that's one way where you can actually hook book vault up to your Shopify. And so you can think about it like a print on demand. So someone orders the book, it's already hooked up with Book Vault. They handle all the shipping and fulfillment for you. So that's one way that authors are doing it. Another way that authors are doing it, if you're selling 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 books per month, you can buy them in bulk from some places in the US, some places in China. I know some authors that are selling like 10,000 plus books a month. They're getting their books from China just because you can get them for $4 to $5 per book. And they're really high quality too, from what they've said. So those are the two primary ways. There's also Lulu, of course. That's like another book vault as well, where it's automatically hooked up through Shopify. That one is a little bit more expensive though. But yeah, those are the main ways that authors are handling those paperbacks, especially with special editions. Because I mean, you can be in KU and still sell your special editions on your store. And with the right marketing strategy, even though your margin is a little bit less with paperback, you can still price those things much, much higher. I'd actually recommend you go for the highest design that you possibly can. Sprayed edges, foil covers, everything you can. That way you can charge a premium for them. And I mean, I've seen some authors that don't want to charge that much. They want to get their books out, but I'd always recommend to just charge what you're worth. Because if you charge, say, $5 for a book, people aren't going to perceive that as high value. They want something that's perceived as high value. So I'd always recommend to like look at what other authors are doing and then charge at the top or close to the top at least. Because there's some authors that are selling 5 books for like $300 that are very nice special editions. And then that makes up your margin right there. And that allows you to really scale your ads too.
Nice. So that's a good point. Also, so ebook versus paperback in these direct sales, a lot of those early examples you were showing, those were selling the ebook bundles, right?
Yep, those were selling the ebook bundles. Exactly. Yeah, and then we're getting into a lot more of special edition and special edition bundles. And typically what we do is we have one campaign that's running the ebook bundles, and that's the one that's scaling up to say $300, $400, $500 per day, and it's just acquiring customers. And then what that does is because those customers are now acquired, and it's all tracked through the pixel, which we'll get into the pixel in a minute. But since it's being tracked by your pixel, you have another campaign that's running your special editions, which then's retargeting all those people that have bought your ebooks already to get them onto your special editions. And then simply just uploading your book titles. Shopify makes it so easy. It's really just adding a description, media, and then it's a nice picture of me. And then hooking it up to a book funnel. Super easy. And then simply just design out your homepage, which is just your banner. Everything else will be set up through that template, but it's really just those few points. And then obviously you can have collections just like on any store where you have a specific series or a specific format. They do make it very easy to organize things on the store. And this is essentially what it'll look like at the end. So it's simply just adding in your banner, featured bundles, and then you'd be good to go from there. Yeah. And then we also go through conversion rate too. I don't have to get too detailed about it, but there's some specific things where we go through some small tweaks, just things that we split tested over time. Things like these popular highlights. This is something that's on Amazon too. Readers really like these popular highlights where they can read a little snippet from the book. You can just pull those. You can even see your popular highlights on Amazon and just pull those same things over to your Shopify store, drop it in those images. And then obviously on the actual page too, you can sell it in different formats. So they could select the paperbacks or they could select the ebook plus audiobook bundle. You can make those different formats for the reader as well.
Just to make it really clear for somebody who has no clue what they're looking at, let's say they get this Shopify store, they like sign up for Shopify, they can upload the template, they just fill in the blanks. And then on their Facebook account, there's already like a super simple way that they can connect their Shopify to the Facebook, right? I guess you're about to get into that soon here.
Yeah. So what they can do is very simply, once they're in Shopify, there's an app where it's Facebook and Instagram. They click on the app. And then once you click there, then you just click on, this is like a start here button. You click on that. It already hooks up as long as you're logged into Facebook. It's already hooked up. It connects and then you're good. That's it. It's super easy to connect those two things. And then that will go ahead and start. Anyone that goes onto your site is now being tracked by that Facebook pixel. So it's tracking what pages people are going on, how long they've been on the site, what products they're purchasing, everything. Yeah. And so then once you have that Shopify store set up, what I can also do is I can also send you all over the template that we have too. So you can just give it to your audience. And that way, if they're starting up a Shopify store, they can just upload that theme template in and start there from a really good base too.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Do you have the same thing for other websites?
Just Shopify right now. We've tried other websites and we have not seen the same results. We have not been able to scale up nearly what we've been able to do on Shopify. Shopify makes it so like everyone is purchased from a Shopify store, whether you know it or not, you have. And Shopify is now like the more people that buy from Shopify stores, they save credit card information, addresses, profiles. Eventually, you've probably seen Shop Pay too. A lot of people are creating those accounts, where it's essentially just like Amazon. It's like buy with one click. Like you click add to cart and you're already purchasing. And so we've just always seen the best results with Shopify. I'd always recommend it. Even if there's another platform that might be $15 instead of the $30 for Shopify, you're going to make that up in your sales too.
Thank you.
And then, I mean, we could go into this kind of after you go into more detail, but I know even some of the biggest authors, I think like Colleen Hoover or something, like her website is just a Shopify store.
Yeah.
Like now maybe you can also have your author website and your Shopify store as like separate domains or something, but we could go further into that later maybe.
A lot of the authors have a separate domain. Like, for example, we have, so this is Anne Marie Meyer. She's a very, very successful author. This is her Shopify store, which it's now outranking her previous domain. So a lot of authors, what we've recommended is that they just turn their previous website as a like shop my books, and then it sends them straight to the Shopify store. Because this way everything's tracked. It's tracking add to carts. It's tracking how long they've been on the site, everything. And it'll typically, with the amount of traffic you're sending to the Shopify store, it'll typically eventually outrank your previous domain. Yeah, but that way, if you have a bunch of backlinks and things like that that are already on books, that way you don't have to go back through and change everything. You could just simply have a button that just directs them to your store. Yeah, so getting into traffic ads versus sales ads, you've probably seen when you're creating a new campaign, if you've ever created a traffic ad campaign, you've seen sales at the bottom. Now, the two really main differences between these, just to put it very, very simply, is when you run a traffic ad campaign, it is going to only optimize for people that are going to click on your ad. After that, it does not care what the person does. That's all that it cares about, is trying to get someone to click. Now, a sales ads campaign, it's going to actually optimize for someone to purchase. So it's going to find people that are going through the whole step of going to your site, adding to cart, buying, and it's going to actually optimize for those people that want to purchase from them. So that's why we run sales campaigns instead of traffic campaigns, because it's going to go towards those high intent readers that actually take out their wallet and type in their credit card information and go through the full purchase. So just simply put, sales ads, they generate sales, traffic ads, they generate traffic. That's what you're like. If you ask Facebook for traffic, you're going to get traffic. Ask them for sales, you're going to get sales. Cool. Yeah. And then that's the cool thing with the sales ads as well, like we were talking about with having the Facebook pixel on the site, is what that's going to do is it's going to scan everything on your site. And that's how it's going to build in for your targeting. So when you launch up your ads, it's going to look at everything that's on your site, and that's how it's going to determine who to target. So that's why we want the bundle name correctly set up. You have your excerpt on your page, things like that. It's going to scan that, and it's going to find those customers based on those things.
Now, this is maybe unrelated, but let's say you're sending traffic to your Shopify store.
Yeah.
The pixel, you're saying, basically forgets what happens next, even though there's some activity going on the site, right? Or sales, it just tracks better data for that same pixel. Because like, let's imagine, I'm sending traffic to my Shopify site that has the pixel already on it. You're saying that even though it's the same pixel, it's the Facebook kind of just gets lazy and is like, okay, we're not going to track everything.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, say you ran $100 worth of traffic ads to a Shopify store, you ran it to the same page versus if you ran $100 with a sales ad campaign, the traffic campaign would maybe generate $10 in sales, where the sales ad campaign, because it's optimizing for sales, would probably generate $100 or $150 in sales. Because just like how you said, in a sense, forgets, like it doesn't track anything after the click. And then getting your ad set up, really all that you need is, it's just like traffic for creative. Really just need images, videos, and ad copy, just like you would for traffic ads. Same thing for sales ads, for the assets that you'd need. So some image examples that we've seen work really well. Very simple images, things like the book cover, the side of the book, some Midjourney images, stock images. All of these things have worked really well as ads and have been able to scale up. And then we also have that scene in here where it's simply just directly a scene from the book. So they read that scene, the image is what captures their attention. They read the scene, go to the page, and then that's how they actually complete the purchase. And then some video examples too. These are really still scene based. So this one here is calling all Sweet Regency romance readers. You're literally directly calling out your exact customer base. And then she goes through a specific scene that was in the book. That one worked really well. This one scaled up very well as too. It was literally just her walking next to a stream, like a river. And she just had the actual scene on the video that was popping up as one text block. And then that text block would go away and another one would pop up. And they're essentially going through this scene that way. Here's Kelsey. She's awesome on TikTok. So this is just a video of her talking through a scene. So there's tons of different styles of videos you can make. Really, infinite styles. It's really just testing, just seeing what will work, launching things up, and eventually you're going to find a winner. Yeah. And so simply you just need one campaign to launch up, sales campaign. You just need one ad set. We always set the targeting to broad. Facebook knows targeting better than we do. We've always seen better results when setting the targeting to broad, especially over the long run. As you're running those sales ads, they're accumulating that pixel data of figuring out who's been on your site, who's purchasing, and they're using that data to then target more readers like them. And then once you have those images and videos, you just drop those into the ad set along with your ad copy and you're good to go. Yeah, and that's the cool thing about sales ads is that you can actually see data. You've probably seen traffic ads where you see a bunch of clicks coming through, but this actually tells you how many people purchased, what it was to get them to purchase, the cost per purchase, the amount that you spent, your actual return. So they spent $722 and made back $1,738. You can see that directly. And then your return on ad spend, which is essentially this multiplied by this equals your conversion value, obviously.
Now, one thing while we're here, I know you vet very heavily the people you work with directly. So for someone just at home, like I'm an author writing books, how do I know, is it my product sucks or my ad that sucks?
Yeah, so I would always do product research first. I'd figure out what other people are selling in the industry and try to make your offer as compelling as possible. Because if you have, say, 5 books for $45, that's probably not going to work. Because if we're talking about in the market, that's priced too high. So you want to make it a competitive offer. And then if you're sending traffic to the site and you're running these sales ads and this is kind of getting into the weeds of things, but there's your CPM, which is your cost per 1,000 impressions. Typically, those are going to be lower with traffic ads and higher for sales ads. The reason that they're higher with sales ads is because you're targeting a more qualified audience. So it's going to cost more. Now, in terms of an average CPM, we see that at around $25 to $30. And so if you're seeing somewhere around $70, $80, that means CPM is telling you that it's not an offer that people want to see. Because in some cases, some people have amazing offers and people absolutely love them. And their CPMs are down around like the $10 range. And that's just because Facebook wants to push your ads. So they're going to give you a cheaper CPM and let you reach more people. So I would always look at CPM and CPC first, because those are going to tell you, typically on average, we see around $1 cost per click. So if you're around $2, $3, that's going to tell you that your ad is not working, that people aren't actually wanting to click on your ad. So you want to aim for lower cost per click. That's going to tell you if your ad is working. And then CPM is going to typically tell you if your offer is working. So you want both of those numbers to be as low as possible. The average is going to be around $25 again for CPM and $1 for cost per click. So you want to get as close to that number as possible. Yeah. So then just putting it all together, Facebook ads is really what drives the readers to your store with the intent to buy. Store explains away any confusion, continues to sell the reader, and having a higher converting store turns more of those readers into buyers. And you can clearly then look back at the data to see what did best and just do more of that. Just keep creating more content like that.
Now, I know you mentioned at least organic is very important, right?
Yeah.
So how can either an author use organic to make better ads or figure out what's working with ads and then use it in their organic?
100%.
What's a good thought process they could take from that?
Totally. Yeah. I would always start with organic first, especially if you're starting out if you're under $1,000 per month in revenue, I would always start organic, because what you can do with organic is when you're posting, if you have a video that does well organically, the likelihood that it's going to work well as an ad is very, very high. So I would always start with posting organically and then pull those videos into your ads. Or if you already have posted videos and you have an organic presence, then pull all of those into your ads. Because really organic, like the algorithm for organic and for paid is the exact same algorithm. There's no difference between those two. So if you have a video that gets 500,000 views, that means that people really wanted to see that video. And so if you put that into an ad and run that as an ad, run it to the same author or offer that you're talking about in the organic video, it's typically going to do very, very well too.
And then from the direct sales side, so I know bundles is like the bread and butter, right? let's say I'm starting out, maybe I have 2 books out. There's still a benefit, or would you say there's still a benefit? Set up your store, at least have them available direct. You could start building that pixel, et cetera.
Yep, 100%. And I would start organic right there. That's honestly, I mean, I've seen authors do extremely well when they have 3 books and they bundle up those 3 books. It's not a high enough price point to run ads to, but they just 100% focus organic content. And they can do really, really well organic, just focusing on that. And then you build up all this organic content. It's free to make too. You send all of that organic content to your site. You just tell them at the very end of the video, like, you can get it on my store. And then what you can do is, once you've built up all that organic content, you keep writing, you get to that 5th book, bundle that together, and then start running all that content that you've already made in ads, because you're already fueled up with content at that point. So I'd start there, definitely.
So these authors, let's say the ones that you work with a lot, are any of them in KU that you somehow also set up this direct funnel that still complies with KU, or are you mainly not KU?
Yeah. So if they're in KU, then it's going to be special editions. It's going to be running into paperbacks, because that's just against KU's policy to have it anywhere else. But then it's just figuring out, like, what am I making in KU versus what am I going to make outside? Because there's been some authors that their books have been in KU and it was making $5 a month. It's like, oh, I can beat that with direct sales. If I put some time into this, I can make more than $5 per month in this series.
I have a question.
Sometimes traffic ads. Yeah.
Do you do hardcovers too, or only paperback and ebooks?
All of them. Hardcovers, paperbacks, ebooks, audiobooks, everything. Special editions, everything. I mean, even some authors are doing subscription boxes as well, where they send out a box each month with some goodies inside. That's a cool thing, especially getting reoccurring revenue. That's a good way to build your business outside of yourself as well. If you're an author, like, that's something where you can take yourself out and you have now a brand of reoccurring revenue. That's something you could even sell your business in the future if that's something you're looking to do when you have that reoccurring revenue set up. Yeah.
And something that was a recurring theme is like testing, right? New author starting to do direct ads.
Yep.
What's a good test budget? How do you figure out what's going to work to then get that ROI?
Totally. That's the nice thing about Facebook ads. You can start at $5 per day and Facebook is going to know exactly who to target. So you can start at 5, 10, and just start there. What I'd always recommend doing is, like I was saying, the 1 campaign, 1 ad set, and 3 images and 3 videos in that ad set. And in that ad set, you're focusing on one specific scene of your book. All those creatives are focusing on one specific scene. You can name that campaign, that scene, test it out, run it for 7 days. Doesn't matter if you're running at $5, $10. If it's going to work, it's going to work. Like, you're going to know. And if that one doesn't work, it's not producing sales after a 7-day period, cut it, launch up another scene, and just keep testing. That's how you can always keep testing. That's the nice thing with direct sales, is that the more that you're running, the more data you're getting over time too.
Also, with the Shopify store, so on Amazon, like, the royalties come delayed, right?
Yep.
Another
60-day payouts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Another benefit of direct is you get your money faster.
You get your money not day of, next day. As close to day of as possible. Yeah, you get it the next day. You can have next day payouts. It hits your account right away, and you can reinvest that back into the ads. It makes it really easy, like much easier in terms of the cash cycle, to have that money coming right back in. You can reinvest right back into your ads, and just it really helps with scaling, that you're not waiting 60 days to get paid. You can just have that money right there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, every genre is different. You obviously have a lot of experience with the romance genre. I think, at least this is what I'm thinking as we're going through this. It's like the total addressable market for romance is very high. Yes. So that's why, in a way, it's kind of easier to take it off of Amazon, because Amazon, the benefit is you get all these readers. If you already have a bunch of readers interested in your genre, direct sales is probably what you should be doing right now. Exactly.
Just like what you said, the total addressable market is everything. And with romance, it's much higher. And they also are reading books much quicker too. They have bigger TBRs. But for other genres as well, there's always room to, like, maybe you can't scale as far. Maybe you can't scale up to 100,000 per month. with another genre, but you can get up to 10, 15,000 with another genre with the right scene, because there's always readers. I would always recommend charging more for those other genres like thriller or horror, anything like that. But yeah, I mean, anything like fantasy, like that's still obviously in romance, but like fantasy's doing great. It's really just how big the total addressable market is and how quickly they're reading your books. Yeah.
Now, just to kind of go, I guess, a little bit more into your offers for authors, right?
Mhm.
So you mentioned, you got the course, you got kind of some done with you stuff. Could you just tell us a little bit more about what, let's say, an author's checking you out on Author Direct? What are some things that they could get out of that would benefit them?
Yeah, I mean, we got a bunch of content on YouTube that you can check out for free. Obviously, it's just on YouTube. And then, yeah, if you check out our site, you can see some of the case studies, some of the testimonials. And then we do have a course where they can jump in and learn all of this stuff. It walks them through everything completely step by step. It's pretty jam packed. And then once you jump in the course, there's also a support group too that goes along with it. So you can ask questions as you're going. And then, yeah, I mean, if you're an author that's making anywhere between like 5 to 10,000 per month, typically we want to start there. Then, and you have the right amount of books to be able to put into a bundle, then that's where I'd recommend probably jumping into the coaching, and we can help you double or triple that over the next couple of months. But yeah, if it's the type of author that, because I've talked to a lot that just do not want to do marketing, then that's where our romance book bundles side comes in, where we can go ahead and market the books for you.
And I don't know all the details about it, but what I saw, it's a very cool setup, how you set it up, right? I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but you take basically a percent of what you help them make. It's like, we don't get $1 unless you make however many.
Exactly. We're 100% directly incentivized in the success of the author. Because if the author is not making anything, we're not making anything. And that's how we like to do it, to where we're just directly incentivized in the success of the author. And so we're building out a content team. We're always trying to find new scenes, testing out new stuff. The stuff that takes a lot of time that we want to help give the author the time back to actually be able to write. Because I mean, if you're an author, your business is really two parts. It's really writing more books and acquiring more readers. And so if you're marketing the whole time, which the nice thing with direct sales is a lot of these books were written 5-10 years ago, and we're scaling them up and selling them as the bundle. But then again, you got to think like, I still need more product. And so we're trying to give them the time back to be able to write more. And we're really acting as essentially as another retailer, where instead of 60-day payouts, they get the payout the end of the month, whatever the payout was. And then it's extra exposure. Typically, we see that when we're advertising these books, they get a boost on Amazon and they keep all of that, and they get a boost on other platforms. They keep all that too. We're only talking about the share on our store. And so, yeah, it's a pretty cool deal where we want to see you succeed because it's the only way that we succeed. So it's a pretty good incentive.
Yeah, it's pretty, I liked it when I looked at it. I was like, wow, this is a great deal. Even if I'm not an author, I'm like, maybe I should start writing some books now.
Yeah.
But how'd you get into all of this in general? Like, did you have a family member who was a writer? Did you like books, or what kind of sparked this whole thing for you?
Yeah, so I was a coach previously at a different company, a marketing company. I started a program there where we worked with 6 and 7 figure brands. I just worked directly with them. I worked with about 250, just coaching them, teaching them how to scale their business. And one of them was an author, and she is amazing. That was actually Anne Marie. And she came to me and said like, hey, there's this new thing called direct sales. It's pretty cool. And so I knew the ad side, and she knew essentially what she wanted to do in terms of like how she wanted to sell them. And so we just started working together. And then I left the coaching side of things and started working with her directly. And she scaled up like crazy the first couple of months, which was awesome. And she's still doing amazing. Very, very well. She's doing extremely well. And then she told all of her friends, and then it really just kept going from there. And it's been a pretty fun journey. I think we've worked with about 150 authors one-on-one, and then have a couple hundred authors, 400, 500 in the coaching side of things, nice. And the course side of things too. Yeah.
Hey man, that's great. I want to reverse engineer, or rather recap what we went over so far, just so it's like really tactical for people.
Totally.
So just like the bullet point list of what you were talking about. So, get your bundle, get your Shopify, whatever.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, the action steps that I would recommend taking is very, very simple. Like, it starts with your offer, figuring out your offer, doing offer research, looking at other stores, figuring out what you want to put together. Once you've gone ahead and done that, then it's simply just building out that store. You can use the template. I'll send that over. You can use that template to go ahead and upload that in. Then from there, it's adding your products onto the store, just fine tuning the store just to make sure everything's up. Then from there, it's going to be getting your images, your videos, and your scene that you want to advertise, and then launching those up as sales ads. So it's really just about 4 steps from start to finish in terms of getting everything launched. And I've seen authors get things launched up within a week and having things running and getting sales. So it's really just offer, store, ads, and you're good to go.
Mm-hmm. And so with these ads, do a lot of the authors you work with, you're helping them creating these ads? Are you looking at, like, when you're saying looking for what offers work, are you looking at like the Facebook ad manager or organic? You're just scrolling through like Book Talk and Bookstagram, or what are some of the things you do to research the market?
Yeah, totally. So you're just looking up, not really competitors. I mean, the author space doesn't really have competitors because people keep buying more books. So everyone's working together really. But I would just look at other authors that write similar to you. Another thing is the Facebook ad library, and just look up exactly what, like, horror books or women's fiction books, and they'll pop up right there. And you just look for the ones that are selling a bundle, click on that, check it out. Typically what you can do too is you can look at the ad and see how long it's been running. It's been running for a while, and that means it's probably working. So then you can kind of take some research from there. And then another thing is TikTok. That's probably going to be the best bet in terms of finding offers, creative styles to make, because that's where, I mean, a lot of authors are on TikTok. So I'd really start with, Instagram and Facebook totally work too. But I'd probably start with looking in the Facebook ad library, and then looking up just on Google your offer, what your types of books are, and then looking on TikTok. And you're going to be able to find tons of examples. Yeah. Those types of books.
Has TikTok Shop been on your radar? Because it's like kind of the trending thing. I mean, it's been for a while now, but are any authors using that right now? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
They are, yeah. They're using that a lot. The one thing with TikTok Shop is that you can't hook anything like Book Vault or Lulu up to those. You do have to send those books out yourself. But yeah, that's in the case of, you can take a look at Kelsey Ray or Anne Marie Meyer. They have a TikTok shop going, and they are just like, if you can find a style of content that your readers enjoy, it's typically going to be face to camera content, but there's also some scene style content that you can do that includes the book. You always have to include the book if you're going to link it to your TikTok shop. But yeah, authors are doing incredibly well there. And that's where it's not really genre specific, because a lot of times people like the design of a special edition or a hardback, and that's why they're getting the books. So that's also another thing where you just look on TikTok, see the styles of content that other people are making, and then make similar styles of content, especially if something's trending. And it's going to take time, but it does build up. But I would make sure that you're always trying something like a new style of content. Typically what I recommend is 80% the same, 15% a slight variation of what you're doing, and then 5% just completely new, just brand new styles of content. And if you can stick with that, you're going to find something that hits. And once you find something that hits, you keep making that same style, because TikTok is one of those platforms where a lot of people think that if you make a video and it goes viral, then it's like, oh, I don't want to make that video again because they're going to see it again. It's like, no, that's why it went viral, because they wanted to see it. So you just make that same style of content over and over again. And your likelihood of going viral is pretty high at that point.
So author, probably not full-time yet if they aren't really pushing the direct sales yet. Maybe they are, but let's say limited resources, right? You need time to write, you need time to, do the chores, walk your dog, whatever. What's kind of the split on the time, let's say, of managing the paid ads versus making all this organic content?
Yeah. So, managing the actual ads takes about an hour per week. That's about it. You shouldn't really be spending any more than an hour per week. That's what our coaching calls are too. It's an hour per week. And on that call is when we're going through the ads, making all the adjustments, and then figuring out what type of content to make. I'd say, if you're just making content for the ads, that's probably going to take about 2 to 3 hours per week. If you're making obviously more organic content than that, then that really just takes however much content you're going to make. But if you're in the case of a new author, I would just focus on organic. I would really just focus there. you could have your store set up, at least there. You could make that organic content to send them to the store. But I really just focus on organic, and that just determines of the amount of content that you want to make really just determines the amount of time that it's going to take. But yeah, I mean, what I always recommend too is batching things. So trying to make like a video per day. I'd make 7 videos on a Sunday and just plan it out, make it real quick, film all of them, and then you got all the content ready to go.
Right.
Yeah.
How do you split your time between paid versus organic? Obviously, you have, you don't necessarily need to be the one editing everything or designing everything. You can slowly build out a team for that.
Yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, building out a team is really, really effective. Like there are tons and tons of people that you can pay to make content, because there's a lot of content that you can make that doesn't have to include your face. Or what you can do is you just film a video, like looking at the camera, like doing something, and the person can take that video and put thousands of scenes on it, or like tons of different variations. We have tons of ads that are doing really well, where it's literally just an author just smiling, like moving her head around, and there's just text popping up on the screen, and it scales up. It does super well. So the main thing to that point, the main thing is the scene. Like the scene is really what matters. But in terms of types of content, I wouldn't overthink it. I've seen so many times that the most highly produced content does not do the best. So I'd always just like make a video, see if it does well. This one author, she made a video in her garage, she really started the video pointing at her books and just started talking through that. She just wrapped a bunch of the books up and they were ready to go. They look good. The video got like 1.7 million views of her just talking about her books. She sold like $15,000 worth of books. So like it can be anything. I just wouldn't overthink it. I would just make it and launch it up or post it.
We talked about all this stuff you should do. What's like some don't do? So there's the invert thinking where it's like, figure out what not to do and then just do the opposite. Mm-hmm. So if you're talking to an author, because I could sell a subscription, I could sell a bundle, I could try to create a super special edition. There's so many options to choose from. What are some things where, like, if you just don't do this, like you'll at least do pretty good?
Yeah, totally. I love authors. I could say this though, because I coach a lot of them. I work with a lot of them. They love new things, which I love that, because they're always like thinking of new ideas. What I would not recommend doing is always trying a new thing. So I would not recommend like getting on TikTok. Like, well, I'm not going to say you can't have multiple profiles, but I wouldn't recommend like doing a TikTok shop and doing special editions, and doing a TikTok shop and trying to run Facebook ads and trying to start like a Pinterest and trying to start like, I wouldn't try recommending doing all those things. I would just stick with one. So if you're starting out and you're good at making content, I would just make a bunch of content and post that on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. I would just make a bunch of content and start posting it there. And I would just focus on that one thing. If you want to do direct sales and you have the right offer set up, like you have a perfect like 9-book bundle, it's like perfect price point, and you want to do direct sales, then just focus on that for like 2 or 3 months. Because once you have things in a good position, then it's much easier to manage. Like some of the authors that are doing $200,000-$300,000 per month are spending still an hour managing their ads. It barely takes any time. And they built out a content team. The content team makes all their content. They pull the content into the ads. It's a very, very easy. It's I forgot the exact word, but it's essentially a cycle where it's a feedback loop, really, where it feeds on itself. And so I would recommend just starting with one thing. If you want to start up a TikTok shop, just do that and just try to make content for that, just figuring that out. Because I've just seen too many times where authors want a new thing. They want to, like, they got direct sales and they're like, oh, now I want a subscription box right now. Like, it's only been a month after they haven't launched. It's like, just wait, just focus on this one thing until it's at a good point. Maybe set a revenue point to where, or like a time threshold where you're only spending a certain amount of time on this, and then you can move to a different project. But I just focus on one first. And I also wouldn't try to launch up ads on every single platform. Like if you're going to do ads, just do Facebook and Instagram, because it runs on the same platform. You don't have to do multiple stuff. And so I would just focus on like one thing at a time, because it's always my favorite phrase is the more, better, new. Like always focus on more and better first. Like you don't need new. New really just creates complexity. More and better will typically get the job done. And it will if you're doing 10,000 with your ads going to your store, you probably do 20,000 if you just focus on that. But if you try something new, then your ads drop down. Now you're trying to figure out this other new thing. It creates a lot of complexity. So I'd always say more, better, and new when you're focusing on this stuff.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think an author might get into this and they want to rush the result. So it's like month one, they're trying the Facebook ad. Oh, it didn't work. They said TikTok shop works. I'm going to try that. And then they burn out on each one thinking none of them work. But the fact is, you're hearing it from Cameron, like people are making money in any one of them if you just really commit to figuring out how it can work for you.
Exactly. There's authors that I work with that are making $200,000 on TikTok shop. There's also authors that are making $200,000 direct. They just focus on that one thing. They focus on what they're good at. And then once you can build a team around that, which it can take time to build a team, but I mean, there's tons of books out there you can read to how to build teams, videos. Once you can build a team, then you can focus on something new. But yeah, there's people that are succeeding in all of it. But the main ones are selling your ebooks direct, selling your paperback special editions direct, and then TikTok shop. Yeah.
Yeah, I even do TikTok shop is like a hybrid because you're doing the direct principles, but just on TikTok.
Exactly. I would even say, like, especially if you're starting or maybe your books are in KU or you don't have content for ads yet, I would just recommend making content to start for like the first month. Just make content. Because once you make content, then you figure out, because like I was saying, if a video gets 500,000 views on any platform, it's going to do well as an ad. Like 99% of the time, it's going to do well. And so if you can just make content, focus on that, and then take all that content and then run it in ads, it's going to be so much easier because you could literally you already know it's going to work. Just pull it over and run it.
Now, obviously, AI is like kind of on everyone's mind. And how do you see that changing the market? I mean, realistically, I haven't seen an AI write like something that could even come close to a full human author book. But if authors are using AI to pump out more and more books, I mean, have you thought anything about this? Do you have any thoughts on it in general?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this quite a bit. I do think that it's going to increase the quality in the space. I think that people are going to I work with a lot of authors that are using it to help them write books, and it is cutting down on the time. But I do think that as more and more get used to how to use it, I always like to think like I'll give a weird or not a weird metaphor, but if like you give a random person a knife and they're going to make a dish, like versus a chef, like they're going to be able to make it much better. So if you give an author AI and they're going to write a book, they're just going to write a better book. Like if they can learn how to use it right. Like a normal person they don't have the years and years and years of like looking at a book and realizing why it's good. So I do think it's going to just increase the quality in this space. But yeah, it's something that's going to be interesting because then if we're talking about supply and demand curves, if there's a bigger supply, then it could increase the demand and people could just read a lot faster and read more books. I guess that's kind of where like wondering what the economy is going to do at that point. If people have more disposable income and they just want to read, like there's a lot of factors that play into it. But yeah, I mean, we kind of just got to see, but I do think that it will increase the quality of books because with these tools, I know there's tools like Novel Crafter out there where they keep track of all your characters and things like that. And they can not write your book for you, but give you really good ideas. And then you can look through the ideas and figure out like, oh, that's a really good idea. I'm going to use that one and then keep it going. And it really keeps the creative flow going too. So yeah, I think an author is always is going to be able to win when they have AI. But yeah, I mean, I don't know where
I agree because for a while, like people are scared it's going to replace, but I think like you're saying, it's going to enhance those who know what they're doing. Like, yeah, exactly. I can cook a chicken, but I'm not cooking a chicken like a star chef or whatever. Yeah. And the taste is what makes the difference because even in this design field, like with the book cover designs, yeah, an author can technically make a cover themselves with AI. However, most authors don't have the design eye approaching it the same way that they might approach writing their book with, is this meeting reader expectations? How is this, looking in comparison? Yeah, it makes it easier to make a high quality cover, but an expert human, whether it's writing, design, that extra taste in actual practice, like you can even use it better.
Yeah, exactly. There's always ways to make things better too.
Yeah,
always ways to make things better. And so, I mean, even if it like pops up with a cover, like you can look at the cover and figure out ways to make it better.
For sure.
And so I think it's going to increase the quality in the market. But I know some authors that are extremely successful that do not use any AI at the same time too. And I know that there's probably going to be readers out there that don't want to read some books that have AI. And I mean, that's where I don't know where the market's going to go at that point.
Yeah.
But kind of just going to have, we're in a very weird space right now with how fast things are being created and the algorithms are getting better. But in terms of the content to be able to advertise, I have some ideas in terms of like what I think it might do, but like with the video production, how good that's getting.
Oh yeah.
Books are going to just turn into movies. Like,
right. And what I was thinking about even just recently was if it's like you click a button and you get this amazing ad, which obviously it still takes work to get it. But what matters even more now is the product. Like what matters even more is your book. Like everyone can make this cool looking ad, but you're just getting more attention to the product. So the product itself actually has to be good.
Exactly. And the only way you can sell someone on a book is with part of the book. You're not going to sell them like the cover is what attracts their attention and attracts the right reader. And then after that, it's two parts. Like you need the scene and the cover. So that's the two things that like AI can definitely capture attention. But when it comes to getting someone to actually buy, that's where it's the product.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, obviously, Cameron, I think we could go on for a while just talking about, market and what's going on and everything. But I think overall, it was a great presentation to give people an insight on the fundamentals of setting up their direct sales. If they want to try to DIY it all themselves, they totally can. If they want to learn more, we'll obviously link everything for, what you have to offer. And of course, the free Shopify template, that's going to be sick. I'm sure people are going to find a lot of use out of that. So, yeah, I mean, I think overall, this was great. Daniel or Cam, do you guys have anything else you want to chop with?
Not really.
Cool. Yeah, I appreciate it, Marcus. This is cool. Yeah, I hope that that's all helpful and hope that they can use those tools and start making some more money.
For sure. That's the goal.